In this episode of Film Stock Reviews, I'm reviewing the 1997 disaster movie Dante's Peak. Dante's Peak stars Pierce Brosnan and Linda Hamilton and tells the story of the fictional town of Dante's Peak, where they have to fight to survive a volcanic eruption, where a volcano suddenly wakes up after being dormant. The movie is synonymous because it's one of those under radar disaster films that people have been talking about and became a cult following after it was released. Yes, of course, the movie received negative reviews from critics back in 1997, but since then, it's garnered a following where people actually enjoy this movie. The first time I saw this movie, I absolutely loved it. Plus, during the 90s, Pierce Brosnan was on that big wave of starring as James Bond in GoldenEye and Tomorrow Never Dies. So, I mean, they garnered the success and they captured that success by casting Pierce Brosnan in this movie because people love Pierce Brosnan as James Bond. So let's see what happens if he does a different movie during that time. Well, that film was Dante's Peak. The aspect of what this movie is, and based on volcanic eruptions, you could say it's the Mount St. Helens of movies, and it's a volcano that's dormant, and the effects for 1997 for a film like this is absolutely mind-blowing. Linda Hamilton also stars in this, and I feel like she hasn't had a hit since Terminator 2, and she did Dante's Peak. I'm pretty sure she did cameo appearances in film and television, but with this movie, it's really great. Not only that, it is the third collaboration between Linda Hamilton and Gail Ann Hurd, who is the producer of the first two Terminator films. So, I mean, the effects are great. It's wonky and different at times, but it's just the aspect of Pierce Brosnan's character of Harry Dalton, who is a volcanologist and has to warn this town of impending doom, so to speak. And Linda Hamilton is the mayor of Dante's Peak, and she also runs a coffee shop. She has two kids, a boy and a girl, and it's just interesting how this movie was done. And like I said, it's the story aspect is you're just watching it for the disaster and how much truth can be for this movie. There are cringeworthy moments in this. It starts off where a couple is swimming in a lake, so to speak, but the lake gets hot and then they burn. And, it's just really interesting how everything happens. The directing is really good. And the effects of everything blowing up with the ash cloud and then the volcano, the lava. It's really well done. And then the ending where, they get trapped under this cave after everything happens, and then Pierce Brosnan's character, Harry Dalton, kind of breaks his elbow and you see the bone protruding through it. His skin is just, wow, it's probably the worst, craziest thing you've ever seen. And it's just claustrophobic at times and interesting. And then you see the aftermath of what this volcano has done to this small fictional town is eye-opening because you never know what could happen in any disaster in real life. And this movie portrayed it as such. And it's absolutely mind-blowing. Great performances by Pierce Brosnan and Linda Hamilton. And because and the reason I say Linda Hamilton's is a good performance is because she's only known for the Terminator films and other aspects of television. But for this, she really stood on her own with Pierce Brosnan. Of course, Pierce Brosnan, like I said, has that James Bond effect, but it did work. Even though this movie was in its time, I mean, it kind of grossed 178 million at the box office on a budget of, I believe, 110 or between 120 million, and it runs for 109 minutes long. So it's a short movie in a way, comes under 2 hours, but it's worth a watch if you've never seen it. I highly recommend it. It's one of those films where it was this film, and then during that time in the summer of 1997, Volcano also came out with Tommy Lee Jones about a volcano erupting in Los Angeles. So it was, it's one of those ones where you had this movie, and then you had another movie that was similar with a volcano, and then so on and so forth. It's really interesting. But for me, Dante's Peak gets 4 out of 5 stars. Let me know in the comment section below what you thought about Dante's Peak. Did you like it? Did you not like it? What did you think of it? Have you seen it? And will you be checking it out now that I reviewed it? What did you like about this movie? What didn't you like about the movie? And do you think something like this can happen in today's world and standards? I mean, it's been very quiet with volcanic eruptions. Nothing, a major catastrophe has happened, I believe, since Mount St. Helens. but I'm curious to know if you think something like this could happen. And could it happen to Yellowstone National Park? Because it's been rumored that that is a super volcano. So let me know in the comment section below about all those questions I just asked. And also let me know what rating you would give Dante's Peak. And I'll see you all in the next review video. And thank you for tuning in.